Everyone, the Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving Brooklyn Nets experiment is officially over. Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, and there are a plethora of teams that will be trying to pursue Kevin Durant's talents, and Brooklyn is going to look for the best offer, the best package for Kevin Durant. Now, when it comes to Kyrie Irving, he opted in, but it's been reported from the moment he opted in that it's very likely he gets traded, and the team that he gets traded to is the Los Angeles Lakers. So Kyrie Irving very likely goes to the Lakers. Kevin Durant, they will probably try to get the best return possible. At this point, though, it's like, what trade can the Lakers make to get Kyrie Irving? Now, before, the Brooklyn Nets didn't want Russell Westbrook. The idea was that you'd have to likely get a three-team deal going. A third team takes on Westbrook, the Lakers get Kyrie Irving, and then the Brooklyn Nets get whatever assets and pieces they can for Kyrie Irving. But now that Kevin Durant has opted out and wants to be traded, it means that the possibility of a Kyrie Westbrook trade is a lot more likely, because now you're going to get rid of Kevin Durant. You're likely going to be in rebuild mode. You're probably going to get as many great quality pieces as possible. One of the rumored destinations is the Phoenix Suns. So let's say Kevin Durant goes to the Suns for, say, Ayton and Bridges and a couple firsts, something along those lines, right? Because you're going to get a great return for Kevin Durant from whatever team, whether it's the Suns or not. And then once that happens, then Kyrie Irving, it becomes, well, we're not going to get any great assets for it. So what is the next best option, since we are a rebuilding team and we have Ben Simmons and we have these young assets and things like that? Well, now you can make the trade for Russell Westbrook, and it makes so much more sense for the Brooklyn Nets because it becomes an expiring contract. They don't want the player Russell Westbrook, because I know some people, especially Brooklyn Net fans, are going to say there's no way, they don't want him, all that stuff. Well, yes, that may have been the case before because you have Kevin Durant and you want to do whatever you can to keep Kevin Durant. But now that Kevin Durant's leaving, it does make a lot of sense to take on Russell Westbrook because $47 million gets cleared off your books. And if you get, say you get a Bridges and Ayton, and now you have a Ben Simmons, right? Now you have these core three guys, you can go get and make a trade or, maybe even sign, because you have salary relief, to go sign a guy like a Bradley Beal or something like that. And now you got these core four guys that can really lead the charge for the future. It just puts them in such a unique position now, and it makes the incentive of Russell Westbrook so much better. You can go the John Wall route and just pay him and have him sit and you tank, or you can buy him out, or you could do whatever you want. You have so many options in what you can do if you're the Brooklyn Nets to take on Russell Westbrook. And you just, at this point, just want to get rid of Kyrie Irving. They wanted to get rid of Kyrie Irving from day one, right? I mean, even Sean Marks went and sat down and tried to, work something out with the Lakers and had a discussion about a Westbrook-Kyrie trade originally. But the idea was that, you don't want Westbrook because Kevin Durant and the pieces and stuff. You don't want that headache. Although, like, if you can convince Kevin Durant to stay and take it, then yeah, maybe you do that trade. Well, now Kevin Durant's leaving. So at this point, you just want to do what benefits your team the most. And what would benefit your team the most is to get a Russell Westbrook, because all the reports state that no one else wants Kyrie Irving, which makes sense. I mean, you got to think most teams either have a point guard or they don't want the headache or they don't want to pay him the money. And Kyrie Irving, he opted in, which makes it perfect for the Lakers to do a trade. They couldn't do a sign and trade prior because then they'd be hard capped. But now you got Westbrook opted in, you got Kyrie opted in. You could easily do a swap. The Brooklyn Nets probably got to throw somebody else in, like a Joe Harris, something like that, to make the salaries work. But the point is that if you're Brooklyn, now you want to do what's best for your team, and nothing would be better for your team than to clear your books going into next season and having these young assets that you get for Kevin Durant. Like I said, if you can get an Ayton and a Bridges, that is a great start. And you still have Ben Simmons. So you have your core, your big three that is young, that you're building around for the future. You want that cap flexibility. You want to be able to go get other guys to put around them, or even just re-sign them to bigger deals, stuff like that. And if you go and you take on a bunch of contracts for your future, you're in trouble. Like, let's say you do a three-team deal, and it's to the Hornets, right? And Kyrie goes to the Lakers. You have Westbrook go to the Hornets, which is like the reported, trade that they want. And then say you have Rozier and Hayward going to the Brooklyn Nets. That doesn't help Brooklyn in any way, because even if you do get the young assets for Kevin Durant, You have these two guys that you're committed to for the long term that don't fit your plans. You're rebuilding. You're trying to build the best team possible around these three guys and try to, sort of homegrown your team once again instead of chasing these stars. Or if you still want to chase these stars, you don't have the money to do so because all your money's tied up in Rozier and Hayward. And nobody's giving you a star for Kyrie Irving. Nobody's trading, Devin Booker for Kyrie Irving or Donovan Mitchell for Kyrie Irving. Like, these teams don't want Kyrie Irving because of all the headaches they do. The Lakers want it because of the fit, and the hope is that LeBron James can kind of get Kyrie Irving right, and they've won a championship together with Kevin Love. Now imagine what you could do with Anthony Davis. That'd be such a big three mismatch for so many teams. Then the fit is so much more natural. It makes all the sense in the world for the Lakers. But I understood prior to the Kevin Durant request that we don't want Westbrook. Okay, that makes sense. You got Ben Simmons, got Kevin Durant. If you trade Kyrie, you want to get pieces that can help you fit around Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons. You're still pretty solid. I mean, Ben Simmons and Embiid were a contender every year. Imagine what Kevin Durant and Embiid could be every year, along with all the shooting that they have. Seth, and you have Joe Harris and Patty Mills, although he opted out, but like you could re-sign him, things like that. You had the pieces that made sense to where I don't want Westbrook. But now Kevin Durant's leaving, it makes sense to take on Westbrook for your future and have that future flexibility for your team. And then whatever core you can get for Kevin Durant, you get, and now you're running off to the races. So I think Kyrie Irving is all but certain to land on the Lakers one way or another. I think this is going to happen in the coming days. I think by Monday or Tuesday the latest, Kyrie Irving will be a Los Angeles Laker, or he'll be traded somewhere. I just think the Lakers make the most sense. I think you could probably get maybe a THT in return also if you're Brooklyn. The Lakers need players, right? They need bodies. So maybe you can give up a Drummond, Joe Harris, and a Kyrie Irving and get a young guy in THT. Get a Westbrook as a expiring contract and maybe a first rounder. Perfect. That works great for the Lakers. It makes sense for the Lakers. Also, it makes sense for the Brooklyn Nets. You're unloading all your contracts. You're getting rid of everybody that you don't need for the long haul. You're taking on Russell Westbrook. You're getting a draft pick. You're getting a nice, young 22, 23-year-old player with tons of the growth and development that you can bring on the bench. You could start. You could do whatever. I just think from a Brooklyn standpoint, this is likely going to be the case. This is what's going to develop. I think Brooklyn's going to end up trading Kyrie Irving to the Lakers just to get rid of Kyrie. I just think they want to get as far away from Kyrie Irving as possible, and then they'll patiently wait and see what develops with Kevin Durant and take the best package available. Kevin Durant supposedly wants to go to the Suns or the Heat. I think the Suns can put together the best package. Will they give up Bridges and stuff? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. But we'll see what develops. I just think with Kyrie Irving, I think he will be a Laker within the next week. I just think that's all signs have pointed to that. The conversation, even when he opted in, was that. I just don't see that changing anytime soon, especially now. I think more now than ever, Kyrie Irving is going to be a Laker. I think Kevin Durant requesting a trade all but solidifies Kyrie Irving going to the Lakers. But as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think, Kyrie Irving is going to be a Laker? Do you think, now it makes sense to take Russell Westbrook? You want the flexibility for the future. You don't want to take on a bunch of bad contracts. You want to clear off your books. Westbrook, you could, trade later on. You could let the money fall off. You could, go the John Wall route, have him sit. You could buy him out. There's so many options if you're the Brooklyn Nets that it makes sense to take on Westbrook now. That didn't make sense before. So I just think that that's very likely going to be the case. I think we're going to see a Westbrook-Kyrie trade to some degree, whatever, the interchangeable parts are the interchangeable parts. But I think that's going to be the core. Kyrie for Russell Westbrook. But again, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down there. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.